Get money all day, get money all night. Sip my drink, ho, let's get right.
Hey, what up, world? Thank y'all for tuning in today to Ray Ray's Cowboys, your news source for all Cowboys content. Hey, real quick, pause the video, hit the bell below. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe to all things Ray Ray's Cowboys. And also, if you like stuff outside of the Cowboys world, me interviewing like Power Rangers, wrestlers, different things like that, make sure you're tapped into Ray Ray's podcast. Yeah, you can find that all there here at the bottom. Make sure you tap in, follow your boy. Thank you for taking time out of your day. We appreciate you watching this video. Cool. I always like to start off the video with great positive words. Always remember, you're loved, you're needed, you're alive for a reason. Whatever it is you're going through right now, you're going to get through this. See, here on this show, we're glad you're alive. Most importantly, don't give up. And always go Cowboys. Cool. So, let's tap into today's episode. It's going to be a great episode here for you, I think, in my opinion. Shout out to my guy, The Attack. You can catch me there too on Attack on Cowboys Live this upcoming football season. Man, we're going to do some crazy work for y'all. Got some crazy production and things that'll be coming out in the works with that. So tap in there if you want to see me on there as well too, if you haven't already tapped into my boy, the AOC over there. I don't know if y'all saw the grade that ESPN gave the Cowboys. I think it was like last week this article came out. Let's see, I'll swap it up here for you, show it to you on the screen. Well, they gave the Dallas Cowboys a C grade. We're going to dive into that here in just a minute. And since we're just a few days away from the Cowboys reporting to training camp, a couple of weeks away from our first preseason game on August 9th, then we're 49 days away from Cowboys versus Eagles, Thursday, September 4th. First game of the year. We're getting closer and closer to football season. Yes, we got past that dry season of the offseason, and here things are about to get active. So make sure, again, you tapped in with your boy to get everything you like from the Dallas Cowboys. All right, here we go. Let's jump into it. We mentioned that ESPN gave the Dallas Cowboys a C grade for what they did this offseason. So what we want to do is we're going to recap all of the offseason that the Cowboys have had so far. And we want to get our own grade. So look on the screen here. I'm going to make a little report card here. And I want everyone, as we do this video, I want you to give your grades for the different categories we're going to grade the Cowboys on, and also give your overall grade how the Cowboys did this offseason. Comment that below. Be sure to share it. Let me know what you thought the Cowboys did and what they maybe could have improved on, okay? So to get you ready for training camp that's about to kick off, get you ready for the first game, let's get caught up to speed what the Cowboys have done thus far in the offseason. Cool. Let's take a time machine back to January, okay? So in January, the Cowboys made a coaching change. We hired our guy, Shoddy. Shoddy is the new head coach, Brian Schottenheimer. They made the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys this January. And along with hiring a new head coach, we had some coaching changes. We also had some coaches that got retained. But we tapped into the college game where some of these coaches for the first time really overhaul. So let's look on the screen here. Let's kind of go through some of the coaching changes that really kind of stand out. Okay, of course, we talked about the head coach, Shoddy, Coach Brian Schottenheimer. Offensive coordinator, Clayton Adams. To me, I think this is one of the best additions the Cowboys did this offseason. The Cowboys, have been struggling to run the ball. Offensive line play was a little bit of a struggle, okay? Those are things Clayton Adams specializes in, and I think he's going to help turn that around here in Dallas, okay? We have a passing game specialist in Ken Dorsey. Retained a couple other coaches there. Offensive line coach, Connor Riley. We got him here in Dallas. Get to team him back up with his guy, Cooper Beebe, second-year center. Connor Riley, if you're not familiar with him, has been regarded as probably the best college offensive line coach. So you bring him to Dallas as a fairly young offensive line. I think he can work wonders with this offensive line, all right? So let's take a look at the screen again. Here are some of the coaching changes here Dallas made on the offensive side of the ball, okay? So let's switch it over here. to the defensive side of the ball here. We'll see what Dallas here. So starting off with this, for as many times as many years, Dallas Cowboys has his third defensive coordinator. Like I said, within as many years, went from Quinn to Zimmer, now to our new defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus, former head coach of the Chicago Bears, used to be a linebacker coach here in Dallas, which he helped those linebackers. He got some of those linebackers paid, by the way. Then he became the defensive coordinator in Indianapolis. So it's going to be interesting to see what defense he implements here in Dallas. Okay, one of my favorite coaching signings was Aaron Whitecotton. I like what he did with the defensive line for the Jets. So let's take a look here, here for a second, see all the coaches here at Dallas added on the defensive side of the ball and special teams as well, because we did get a new special teams coordinator, and Nick Sorensen comes from the 49ers. All right, cool. So that was the coaching changes that happened early on in the offseason. Okay, now everyone has been saying for the years, Cowboys don't really get active in free agency. They don't spend a bunch of money. All that is valid facts. We don't blow the bag in free agency. We blow bags by signing our own guys, as we like to say. We love our guys. Okay, so after the combine, there was a saying that got thrown around called being selectively aggressive. Okay, and in my opinion, this offseason, the Cowboys were definitely selectively aggressive. Okay. So normally the Cowboys, they like to wait until like the second week of free agency to really start getting active, get some of those value signings. Wasn't the case this year. No, they didn't make a bunch of big name splash signings, but they did some good work. Okay. So before free agency officially started, one of the things they did was keep one of our guys. We love our guys. And Osa Odigizua, a defensive tackle, that was on March 4th. March 4th, they signed him to a 4-year, $80 million contract extension. I think only $39 million of that contract is guaranteed. That averages out about $20 million per year. For what he does, rushing the passer from the defensive tackle position, I think that's a bargain deal. That's a great deal. That's a steal of a deal. I think Dallas did a great job of getting active early. Okay, same day they got C.J. Godwin back. Some people may have complaints about him getting a roster spot every year and not really being active. Neither here nor there. Okay, a couple of days later, Marquise Bell was a restricted free agent. They went and they had a tender on him. They went ahead. You know what? Let's get the deal done. A 3-year, $9 million contract. I think he's going to be a budding safety for this team. Dan Quinn had him playing some safety, but I'm excited to see what Eberflus does with him. Okay, cool. Free agency opens up. We get a running back, Javonte Williams, 1-year, $3 million contract. We get him from Denver Broncos. A couple years ago, he got injured. Now he's about to be 2 years removed from that injury. Let's see what he can do with Clayton Adams and his new run game. A couple years prior in Denver, he looked like a stud. He looked like he was going to be the next, big running back in this league. I remember a game he played against Dallas, and boy, he gave it to us. All right. Dallas also, added some depth. You'll see here. Kevontae Turpin, there was your turn man, another, restricted tendered guy. They went ahead and got a deal done with him, 3-year, $13.5 million contract for one of the more explosive special teams players, if not explosive all around players in the league. Okay. Again, this is still early on in free agency. Cool. Those are some of the guys they started keeping from their team. We signed some other guys too, but we don't have to dive into that. So from outside free agents, again, Cowboys got active like the second day of free agency, March 11th. Solomon Thomas, a guy from the Dallas-Fort Worth area, signed a 2-year, $6 million contract with Dallas. He was a first-round pick for the 49ers a few years back. Last year, he was with the Jets with Aaron Whitecott. We just talked. Good to have him here. He's been known as a leader, locker room guy. He can help show these guys what Aaron Whitecott looks for in his defensive lineman. All right. Same day, too, another defensive lineman, Peyton Turner, another former first-round pick, high character guy. 1-year, $2.5 million. They got him away from New Orleans, brought him here. Re-signed your guy and Brian Anger as your partner. Got that done. Like I said, we have a new defensive coordinator and Matt Eberflus. So we signed Jack Sanborn, linebacker from Chicago. A lot of people were surprised Chicago let him walk. Man, this reminds me of last year when Mike Zimmer brought in Kendricks to help implement his defense. Expect a lot of that from Sanborn, okay? Another one of my favorite signings this offseason, Dante Fowler Jr. After spending one year over there with Dan Quinn, he's like, you know what? I'm going back to Dallas. You know, he was a double-digit sack guy last year in Washington. Been productive his previous tenure here in Dallas. You know, last season we had some injuries on the defensive line, more specifically the edge. Sam Williams got hurt in training camp. Marshawn Nealon got hurt in the year. Michael Parsons missed games. So that is great having this veteran that can attack the quarterback back on this roster where you added some other defensive linemen, and you got some young guys like Nealon coming back off of injury, who's a second-year player, and Sam Williams coming back off of injury. You really don't have to rush those guys, okay? Cool. Then you added some more depth along the offensive line. All right. So let's get into it. Okay. Not only were they active via free agency, this team made some trades. Okay. Prior to the draft, the Cowboys made three trades. And I think they really got some guys with some upside. Let's start off with Kaiir Elam on March 12th. They traded for Kaiir Elam. They also got a 6th-round pick, which we later used for Johnny Cornelius, offensive tackle. Then we sent our 2026 7th-round pick and our 2025 5th-round pick, number 170. They used to draft Jordan Hancock. Same day, we went and made a trade for Kenneth Murray, linebacker. We got him from Tennessee. He really didn't have a great year in Tennessee. And he's got a nice little price tag. Dallas doesn't like to spend money, but he's got over, $7 million contract with Dallas. Like, hey, we see some traits in this guy. Let's go ahead and get him. Again, like Kaiir Elam, like Solomon Thomas, like Peyton Turner, another first-round guy, both Kenneth Murray and Kaiir Elam. So we got Kenneth Murray, along with the draft pick we used to select Phil Maffa, a running back out of Clemson. And we sent them our 2025 6th-round pick that they used to trade draft Khalil Mullins. All right. A couple of weeks later, we traded for Joe Milton. Was a quarterback out there in New England. He's going to be the new backup here in Dallas. We've had some injury concerns with Dak over the last couple of seasons. We lost Cooper Rush to Baltimore. So solidifying your backup quarterback position behind Will Grier, I think was very important. All right. So Dallas may go into the season with 3 quarterbacks on a roster, or one of these guys may be used as the emergency quarterback. That's a rule the NFL implemented a couple seasons ago. Okay. Cool. So remember, I said we're going to start grading. All right. I'm going to put the report card on the screen here. Put it on there earlier. So start thinking about so far what you've heard so far. Start kind of getting your grade ready so you can comment below, what you think the Cowboys did. Okay. So this is what they've done before the draft. Okay. So let's give a quick recap here before we actually get into what they did in the draft. And let's talk about the needs they needed to fill going into the draft. Because in my opinion, they had quite a few needs they still needed to fill out in this draft. So let's talk about that real quick here. All right. So going into the draft, and if you'll see here on the screen here, I'm gonna have everything listed with the picks they had going into the draft and the needs. They needed a receiver, running back, cornerback. You needed a guard because you're unsure about that because you lost Zach Martin to retirement. Defensive tackle and edge still could have used some help. So those are some of the positions they had needed to address in the NFL draft. Okay, so recap before we get into what they did in the draft. So far they added Kenneth Murray, Kaiir Elam, and Joe Milton through trade. Miles Sanders, Javonte Williams, running backs, Robert Jones, Sanborn, Solomon Thomas, Peyton Turner, Dante Fowler, outside free agents they bought in. Then some of the players we lost, Zach Martin, he retired. D-Law went to the Seahawks, but he's been injured the last couple of years, and looked like there's been a little rift in their room with him and some of the other players. Brandon Cooks, injuries didn't really perform that much. Eric Kendricks, Jordan Lewis, which I think is the biggest loss of this list. Cooper Rush, Rico Dowdle, and Chauncey Golston. Um, and if you saw the article earlier, when they were talking about the Cowboys in their grade, they mentioned Rico Dowdle was a thing that the guy they should have kept, but Rico was only healthy for 1 year, so we don't know about that. We'll see. All right. So now the good part. Let's get into the draft. Let's see what our Dallas Cowboys did in this draft. Man, I think personally they had probably one of the better drafts out of all the teams in the NFL. Um, so let's start in the first round. We knew Dallas wanted to address receiver, and that's what I said was one of their biggest needs going into the draft was receiver. You needed someone to pair on the opposite side of CD. This offense lived and died by CD's production, in my personal opinion. And technically, your second best receiver over the last couple of years has really been Jake Ferguson. We didn't get a lot of production out of Brandon Cooks. I don't know if it was scheme wise or what it was, but from our number two receiver, we didn't get our lot of production. So it was very important going into the draft to address receiver. Uh, Everyone saw the report that the Cowboys were targeting Ted McMillan. That was the guy Dallas wanted. They wanted to pair him next to CD, which I would have loved that personally. It would have been interesting, but hey, it didn't fall that way. Carolina scooped him up a few picks prior to that, so the Cowboys had to pivot. Okay, they looked for guys, which if you go back in the offseason, up to this point, high character guys, first round value guys, guys that have some talent. Okay, so they got one of the more talented guys, in my opinion, on the offensive line, in Tyler Booker. A lot of people thought it was a reach, but players they wanted to take at that position were kind of wiped out. And they didn't think they were going to get Tyler Booker probably later on in the first round, so they went ahead, shored up that offensive line. You got your starter at right guard. Cool. Moved on to the second round. I think one of the two biggest steals of this draft, Donovan Ezeraku. A lot of people had him graded as the second best pass rusher in this draft, right behind Abdul Carter. We're going to see what happens with him. I mentioned we signed Dante Fowler. We got those other guys coming back from injury. So Ezeraku really doesn't have to produce at a high level right off the bat. Do I think he can? I think he can, yes, for sure. But he doesn't have to. You can coach him and bring him along slowly. Also, got this stuff going on with the second round picks not being signed. Hopefully that deal gets done. He doesn't miss any camp, all right? Third round. I told you the Cowboys still needed a corner. They got a first round graded corner. Only reason why he didn't go in the first round was because of injury. And Chavon Revel out of East Carolina. A lot of people had him as one of the top corners in this draft. We get him in the third round. Like I said, that was my second biggest steal in his draft. Between him and Ezeraku, at the Cowboys I think they hit a home run, 1, 2, 3. We didn't pick till the fifth round. We got Jaden Blue. Then we picked up another linebacker in Shamar James. We drafted Johnny Cornelius. Been mainly a right tackle his whole career. One of my favorite picks in his draft, a defensive tackle, Jay Toya out of UCLA. One of those one techniques. So him and Mozzie are your only two one techniques on the team right now. So hopefully, that causes competition right there. Running back Phil Maffa. Then you added another defensive lineman from Maryland there. Okay. So that's what Dallas did in the draft. For any of you familiar with Dallas, we know they like to get active when the draft is over with. They've always find contributors from guys who don't get drafted. And here's a list on the screen here of the guys they signed this year as their undrafted free agents. Two of the most popular ones are Trayshawn Holden, receiver from Oregon. He gets to connect back with one of our new receiver coach, Junior Adams, his coach out there in Oregon. Then also we signed Zion Childress, DB, out of Kentucky. A lot of people, like this guy. So Dallas, like I said, they always have, good findings after the draft is over with. All right. So let's put the report card back on. Let's just kind of start taking a look, start thinking in our minds how we want to grade this team. And let's put this thing up here real quick again one more time. Where ESPN gave the Cowboys a C, okay? You see right there, they talked about the Cowboys' biggest moves The move they liked the most was Donovan Ezeraku. Move they disliked was letting Rico Dowdle go. Like I said, Rico has always been hurt here, so we really can't say if that's a loss or not. All right. Biggest move, George Pickens. Okay, let's get into that right now. Okay, so Dallas they had a plan, being selectively aggressive, and they wanted to target a receiver early on in the draft. Didn't fall that way. There was reports, from the press conference. Hey, we got some substantial trades working. Okay, one of those substantial trades was a guy here, George Pickens. So on May 7th, Cowboys traded with Pittsburgh Steelers. They got George Pickens. They got a 2027 6th round pick, and we sent our 2026 3rd round pick and a 2027 5th round pick. Um, so I think for what he brings to this team and what he's done in the league, I think that's a steal of a trade. Let me know what y'all think about that trade. Still, you can comment that below, okay? So that's what they've done so far, real quick. All right. So again, start getting your grades in your brain. Let's see how the Cowboys did this offseason, okay? So we got our guy George Pickens. We had a great draft class. We signed some good depth pieces in free agency. Okay, let's go over these grades now. Let's go over these grades in different categories. I put up there for this team. Okay, all right. Let's take a look at this. Okay, so first off, we're gonna talk about offense. How are we gonna grade this offense? Okay, in my opinion, I give the offense what they've done in the offense. I'm sorry, in the offseason, I got to give it a B plus. Main reason why is you get your quarterback back healthy. Okay, healthy Dak bouncing back from injury. You've seen what he's done. Last time Dak was fully healthy, I think was he number 2 in the MVP race. So that speaks for himself. And if I think Schottenheimer's going to do what I think he's going to do, he's going to tailor this to Dak's strengths, and I think Dak's going to have a great bounce back year. You got him another outside receiver to team up with CeeDee Lamb. You addressed the offensive line in the draft. Got a good offensive line coach. Offensive coordinator is good with the offensive line. And with the run game. So when Dak has a good run game, we've seen what's happened. Go back to his rookie year when he had a healthy prime Zeke. Okay. So some people still say they could have addressed running back a little bit more, but hey, I'm going to give the Cowboys a B plus for how the offense is looking going into training camp so far. Okay, let's talk about the defense. Defense still's got quite a few question marks. You got a question mark at defensive tackle. I still expect them to add another defensive tackle, a veteran guy during camp like they did last year, or they added Linval Joseph, traded for Jordan Phillips. Because you definitely got to figure out what you're going to do with Mozzie. Because the only person that's got, that can push Mozzie right now is Jay Toya. He was a little bit later round pick. So I can see a veteran, if a veteran becomes available, I can see the Cowboys adding that. Still question marks in that cornerback room. Trevon Diggs coming back from injury. Your 3rd round pick and Siobhan Revel. He's coming back from injury. Deron Bland's in a contract year. A lot of questions still at the cornerback room. Kyer Elam, we don't know what he's going to be able to contribute yet. Those are some of the things we're going to be finding out in this training camp. So B minus right now. I'm going to give for the defense right now, okay? Special teams, we ain't got to spend a lot of time on that. That's an A. Hands down. You got your punter back, long snapper back, re-signed your kick returner, punt returner. You got the best kicker in the league, in my opinion, and Brandon Butter Aubrey. So A, hands down. Coaching. There's a little hard one to grade right now. Okay, little hard to grade right now. Because we don't know what Shotty's done as a head coach, because he's his first year as a head coach. But it seems like he's trying to bring a change in culture and bringing guys here. They're high character leaders, motor. All that seems important to him. People that love football. Coaching staff. Like I said, some guys come from the college ranks, so we really don't know what they can do in the NFL. So I'm going to give the coaching a B. Okay. We give the coaching a B. So let's look at these grades real quick. Offense, we gave it a B plus. Defense, B minus. Special teams, A. Coaching, B. I think that rounds out to an overall grade of a B plus. Okay, so you see my B plus on the screen. Let's go back one more time to these guys here at the whack ESPN who don't know what they're talking about. A lot of times to see, let's say a C for all that we did, and we'll go back here to my B plus. Okay, tell me guys what you think. Make sure you keep tuning into the channel. We'll drop stuff about training camp, get ready for preseason, and get ready for September 4th, where we beat the trash pigeons, hopefully, week 1. Again, make sure you like, subscribe, all my channels. Make sure you're checking out my guy, Attack on Cowboys. Catch me over there from time to time. It's your boy Ray Ray's Cowboys, Ray Ray's Podcast. Hey, we'll catch you next time, all right?
Hey, get money all day, get money all night. Sip my drink, ho, let's get right. Getting paid.